Hello and welcome to the Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week and a few reading recommendations as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet, and this is where we are going to go. As always, we go through all the brands in alphabetical order, and we will start with BlueBrixx over here from Europe, and here they have a couple of announcements. First, the car charter with car transport wagon. Whoa, that's quite a mouthful. The 108643 out of the bricks train category by BlueBrixx. This bad boy is going to have 1327 pieces. It has the transport wagon. It has actually two cars. I guess one looks like a Porsche and the other one maybe more like an SUV. And I guess I as a German should not say Porsche, right? I should say Porsche. Anyway, well, Porsche. Anyway, not so easy to combine the languages sometimes. However, we have the car transport wagon, we have two cars, and we have the ramp basically to unload the car. This goes along with the 108644, which is actually two car transport wagons, 108644, 722 pieces. I don't even know if car transport wagon is the right thing. I guess it's sometimes a bit complicated that in English language, you use car for train cars, right? And you have cars on the road. So what is a train car that transports cars? I don't know. BlueBrixx calls it a car transport wagon. Don't know if this is the correct term, but you have two of them, and you can go run them together with the ramp from the other set. I guess because this thing has actually, as far as I can tell, 8 studs of space, so theoretically it should work with something like a Lego Speed Champion as well, at least for the older ones. Not 100% sure if all the new ones fit in there. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's between 6 to 8 studs depending on where you put the wheels, so it may work, but potentially not. But for sure, older Speed Champions should go in here pretty well as well, or Lego City cars, stuff like that. Anyhow, two wagons, 722 pieces. And then we have the tunnel rescue carriages, 108642. I'm actually not that deep in the topic, so not really sure what these are usually used for or how they are used, to be more precise. Anyhow, the set has 2994 pieces, so this is going to be a big one. I mean, there are 6 cars included in this one. They are basically roughly 8.5 by 11.5 centimeters in square, and if you put all 5 of them together, it's almost 1 meter and 80 centimeters, or roughly 70 inches. So this is a long one, this is a big one, and I guess 8 stud width as well. So this is a lot of train for the money. However, as always, because this is a BlueBrixx announcement, we do not know yet what the price is going to be. And then we will have one more bird out of the bird series by BlueBrixx. This is a BlueBrixx Pro set 107784, the common raven. This thing will have 659 pieces. As always with the series, there will be 2 signs or plaques included, one in German and one in English. And also this thing has a 2-in-1 function for the eyes of the bird, so they can either be black or red. Actually, I've never seen a raven with red eyes, but I don't know, I may be wrong here. Anyhow, this thing is roughly 10 centimeters in width, 24.5 in height. That's roughly 4 by 9.5 inches. With that, we're moving on to availabilities, and here we have first available the steam locomotive BR24, BR German Baureihe. So this thing was built, I think, in the 1920s. Yes, they made these between 1928 and 1939. Overall, they made over 95 units. Basically, BlueBrixx has created the set with 789 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for 36 euros. As always, keep in mind, over here in Europe, that includes value-add tax, 4.6 cents a piece. And then the Gentleman's Oldtimer, I think I did report on this back in the day. I guess a lot of you may know or may not from which pop culture reference this one is. 107510 by BlueBrixx, 1,538 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for $60, makes 3.9 cents a piece. Not too shabby, designed by Matteo from the BlueBrixx team. And then we have another locomotive that is now available, the V200, 107447. I think the V200 was built in the 1950s. I think it was one of the very early or I think one of the early, let's say, mass-scale diesel locomotive used by Deutsche Bundesbahn back in the day, so the German train railway organization in Western Germany. 924 pieces for this set, and BlueBrixx is asking for $45, 4.9 cents a piece. I think, yeah, it's over here, at least in Europe, it's a very iconic locomotive, and I think the BlueBrixx design team has done a decent job on this one. And then we have for CaDA Blaustein another expansion now available, the Palisade expansion, 108057. BlueBrixx is asking for $30, 3.3 cents a piece. So the whole idea here is that, of course, this one and may also work together with the Palisade gate for sure and the gatehouse extension. But most and foremost, of course, this is something that BlueBrixx started to work on basically with the Min Tower extension, where they extended Blaustein to go outside with the Palisade. So that's the whole idea of this new extension that was released a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago at this point, end of August. Oh, this is wrong. Long story short, what you can now do is basically, together with this Palisade expansion, basically make the compound of Blaustein Castle as big as you want it to be. Keep in mind that next to Blaustein Castle itself, there are now several buildings that you can include in this Palisade as well. One is the medieval horse stable, which has a concept to do this, and the medieval armorer. And going forward, there will be the medieval guard house and the Palisade gate. All of these, as you can see, have like attach points where you could optionally integrate it in the Palisade. I mean, you could even, in theory, I mean, you know, whatever you would like to do, you can even have multiple Palisades, like a multiple level defense system. But long story short, it is now possible with this medieval collection, even if you don't want to build a diorama like a MOC, but what you can basically do now is just buy all these sets, put them all together, put them on a desk or on a shelf, and you have already a pretty nice and pretty decent diorama. Maybe use them together with, I don't know, your Lego castle collection, stuff like that. It's quite interesting. I'm a big fan of the Blaustein Castle concept, and I think you can nowadays easily go beyond 30,000 pieces, maybe almost towards 40,000 pieces, and still it's not a MOC, it's still sets that you can buy off the shelf. Pretty exciting stuff. With that, we're moving on to a couple of additional availabilities from the Peanuts series by BlueBrixx, in this case Snoopy and Woodstock sets, and all of these, at least the three that I'm going to link for you. You just check out the Peanuts license in the SetDB. There may be others available as well, but what you can already see here in the list, there's still a ton of stuff we are still waiting for. Nevertheless, now you have multiple additional diamond block sets available. As always, keep in mind they have in theory a pretty low price point if you calculate by piece, but diamond blocks are a lot smaller. Like, I don't know, a diamond brick is like 2 millimeters or something like that. The entire set, I mean, for instance, if you build this Snoopy and Woodstock Fun with snow, it's roughly 3 by 3 by 3 inches. So these are very, very tiny, but still looking quite neat. And we have here multiple abilities. Again, like I said, I will link them down below. And then we have the Rail Zeppelin. I think this is a very special thing over here in Germany. I don't even know, I think they never really built any of these. This is like, I don't know, let's call it science fiction from the last century, if you will. Anyhow, BlueBrixx has created this set, 582 pieces, and they are asking for $30, 5.1 cents a piece. For a BlueBrixx train, that is more on the higher side, but nevertheless, I think quite a unique piece of train equipment here. With that, we're moving on to CaDA, and here we have a set that is actually not that new. However, it is new that I now have, and I do believe there is a mistake in the name. This has nothing to do with Technic. Let me just quickly log into the setDB. And by the way, what I'm currently doing is something that you can do as well. Everybody can. This is a standard form. If you see any mistakes in the sets or missing data like the number of prints, the number of stickers, building steps, stuff like that, just click on the link here. That is on every setDB site for every of the 21,000 something sets. And it's called missing or wrong data. This link, just click the link and then here you go. Anyhow, I've already built the set. For me, it's one of the coolest sets this year. What is really amazing here is that everything that you see is pet printed. There's no stickers in the set. And I think a lot of manufacturers in recent years, or especially this year, have tried to go more and more in this direction. And CaDA especially has been a manufacturer that has been mostly in the past going for stickers, but here everything is pet printed. It looks really amazing. They even included all the necessary pieces to build both cars, like for both drivers. It's like optional. You can go for 24 or 77, so you have additional prints for this included as well. Looks really amazing. So now you have it all, right? You have CaDA, they have the license usually correctly, they have great piece quality, and now they also have everything pet printed. So I mean, if that is the future of CaDA, I think they may take the lead when it comes like value in the package compared to all other manufacturers. I think even very expensive manufacturers like Lego cannot compete with this. But anyhow, let's see. I mean, at this point in time, it's just one set and it's a small one. So let's see if CaDA will continue to push in this direction. But together with Fantasy and Funhole, who use UV direct print most and foremost, not pet print, but still everything is printed nowadays in their sets. I mean, not Fantasy is not everything, but it's a lot. Funhole, it seems to be everything now. I mean, progress that manufacturers have been making and in the last couple of months, like the last 12 months, is astonishing to me. And so I think all the European manufacturers, Lego, BlueBrixx, but also in, Mattel, they also have to check now because the Chinese are really moving quick these days. It's amazing. Anyhow, let's move on to Cobi. And here we have, just as a quick update, a few more pictures on the Compagnie wagons. 6289, for instance, the executive version. We now have a lot more pictures by Cobi. There's not much to add here. I mean, I've talked about these sets before. It's quite an interesting piece of European history. I personally would like to build one of these. But yeah, let's see. I have an availability alert here. Over in the US, you can already pre-order them from BlueBrixx, $180 US. And in Europe, however, we are not at this point yet. The standard edition you can pre-order over here in Europe, roughly the same price point. Again, let's see this. What is interesting is that if you check out the numbers, the executive edition seems to be 6289 and the standard edition 6291. So I guess maybe they want to make a limited edition as well that we do not know about yet. I'm not sure. We will see. I'm looking forward to learn more about that. Then just as a quick update, we also now have, actually, this is, I think, not that interesting for you guys, but there are a couple of retailers over here in Europe, unfortunately only German-speaking ones, or shops that only have German sites. You can actually, if you really can't wait any longer, you can check this out on my German page. Just if you go to my website, click here on this language link, and I guess Google Translate, stuff like that can help you. There are a couple of shops over here in Germany who have already these sets available. In fact, I already ordered all of them. Long story short, just as a quick note, for all the Roman sets, we have now availability over here in Germany and in Austria as well. So I do assume that we will see these pretty soon across Europe. As always, North America usually takes a bit more time. But like I've said or talked about in the past, BlueBrixx has basically all of them already on pre-order. So I guess that's the safest way to get these in your home. Really looking forward to these. I do plan currently to make a video about the Roman warship, so this will be German only, but for the other ones, I do plan at this point in time 2 reviews, one for the gladiator sets, one for the Roman army sets, including the chariot, and those of course I will publish both in German as well as English. With that, moving forward to coming to Funhole. Here we have now official pictures, official information on the Cyberpunk sets. I have already built them and I'm really excited. the new lighting concept of Funhole, the new lighting components that they've integrated here for the very first time are astonishing, especially these very bright signs that they have here. They are not perfect. In fact, Funhole themselves has a couple of pictures that show a little bit the problem, like these acrylic pieces are not that clear. There's a ton of scratches in there, and I think it speaks really for Funhole that they make honest pictures here, but I can confirm this is how they look. However, you have to get pretty close to get annoyed by this. In general, it's pretty cool stuff. They have these LEDs and they really light from the inside. Looks really amazing. They have a lot of these lighted tubing, which looks really cool. So all in all, quite an astonishing lighting concept. It really fits the scene. I've said this before, my point of view, Funhole is like the perfect manufacturer to create cyberpunk due to the lighting, because lighting is an important part of cyberpunk, and I think they've done an amazing job here. The set has a lot of interesting things to say about. However, for this point in time, I will actually stop this. However, I should add this to review 2024 because I will publish only in German, unfortunately, publish reviews a couple of days ahead or going forward. Anyhow, the let's say drawback is that because there's so much high tech in quotes in there, so much lighting and interesting special lighting pieces, this thing is not cheap. So Funhole themselves asking for $200 US at this point in time. You can get this cheaper from other Chinese retailers. However, I would also recommend to wait, as always with Funhole, until they have it in their own Amazon store, because very often they go for very aggressive there when it comes to pricing. And we have Black Friday around the corner. I'm pretty sure Funhole will go nuts on Black Friday because they usually do. Anyhow, very interesting stuff. And now with all the information, official pictures. And then we have the Cyberpunk police car that goes with it. And yes, these signs on the side, they actually glow from the inside. Looks really amazing. I can confirm that. It looks as cool as it does on the pictures. In general, Funhole always uses real pictures. So these are photographs, not renders, like many other manufacturers do. And as a result, it looks really, really amazing. I mean, at least I think it's photos. I mean, for sure, I can confirm the looks. I'm not so sure about the close-ups. The close-ups look a bit like renders, but this picture here looks a lot like a real picture, and it is pretty amazing stuff. I can confirm that. And then they have the Funhole Deer Crossing 9053. So this is, I think, they call it, the Road Trip Collection. So this is the first set in this hopefully new and growing series. I've actually bid this one already. It's pretty amazing. Again, you can expect a review within the next couple of weeks. Usually I publish the reviews as soon as the stuff is available on Amazon. And yeah, it's a beautiful set, looks amazing. Lighting, of course, is only in the car. The rock arc, of course, is not lighted. With that, we are moving on to a couple of sets where I do not have official information yet. They just showed up with Chinese retailers, but I'm really looking forward to some of them. The Record Store, first and foremost, 9058. This thing will have 1,980 pieces. And so far, you can buy it already in Asia for around $140 US or euros in this case. No, it's euros. However, no official pictures from Funhole yet, and also, of course, not yet on Amazon. What is really cool about this one, and this is something I'm really looking forward to, they have here an entirely modularity concept that is quite advanced in many ways. It reminds me of some also young designs, and I think this is exactly the way to go for. Funhole never made the mistake to go, like so many other manufacturers, to go the old Lego route by putting this on a 32x32 base plate. Yet they usually go for regular plates. However, they have never really used this to their own benefit, and this is what they do now, right? By creating something that's much more modular, something that you can even, let's say, slide out and in, etc., etc. So I think this picture that I'm currently showing here for all of you who watch this on video, this is already showing what you can do with the set. And I think this is just the beginning. I mean, why just use a modular and then just open it from the top? There are so many more exciting ways what you can do with such a set if you go away from the old base plate formula that unfortunately Lego is still using, and because Lego is doing it, so many other manufacturers are copying from Lego. But I think this is much more advanced, and I'm really looking forward to check out this set. And then there's another one in a similar size, Dreamer Theater 9056. Again, same situation, no official pictures or information yet by Funhole themselves, but this comes from Chinese retailers. And this one here has 2,500 pieces, so it has a lot more pieces. It does not look bigger, but it does have a lot more stuff in it. However, the price point is relatively similar. What will be interesting about this one, like I said before, so the last, I don't know, 10 sets that I had in my hands from Funhole were, no, maybe not 10, maybe like 5 or 6. Anyhow, for quite some time, Funhole is not using any stickers anymore. Everything is pet printed. If that is true here as well, I assume a bazillion prints in here as well. By the way, both of the Cyberpunk sets have also no stickers, like I said. Anyhow, it's an interesting design. Personally, it does not excite me as much as the Record Store, but still looks pretty cool. But also the Western series is getting its new sibling, and here we have what my Chinese retail partner is translating as Western grocery store. Personally, I guess, but let's wait until we have official information from Funhole. Including the let's say Western box art. My guess is it's gonna be called like this here, like Old West General Store and not grocery store. And I think General Store makes also a bit more sense. There's even a telegraph mast included, which is quite cool. And yeah, it looks really beautiful. I've always been a big fan of the color. Sand green looks really amazing. It is 32 studs deep, 25.5 centimeters that is, or how many inches is that? Like 10 inches basically, or 32 studs, but it seems to be slightly wider. And of course, this is interesting. Oh no, this is not, no, that makes total sense. 1,895 pieces. So, and you can buy this in China already around 116 bucks. Keep in mind, and I will come to this in a second, all the prices here are usually from my retail partner Baowie, and Baowie has currently going a 20% discount going on. So keep that in mind as well. Last but not least, I think I've talked about this one already in previous series. Also, we have now official pictures and information from Funhole on the Western Stagecoach. 9052, 293 pieces. Funhole was asking for 29 bucks. And I don't know why the ZTB is not calculating best prices. That's interesting. Anyhow, as always, of course, Funhole pricing always includes the lighting package as well. Then as a quick note, we have availabilities now from Lego 21353. The Botanical Garden is now available. This is a set I would really love to build. I just don't have the time. Unfortunately, usually I would love to build it maybe next year, but in reality, usually I will never come to it. But long story short, now available since beginning of November. Prices start from 330 euros or dollars US, depending on where you live. Check out your respective currency. Like I said in the past, I have now also Lego Singapore and Malaysia in here. And of course, the European Lego outlets, as well as Canada and the US. Please let me know in the comment section if some Lego outlet is missing. That is important to you. I could add this potentially as well. I have to check with Lego, of course. 76294 is now also available. The X-Men X-Mention. More or less same thing, prices as expected. Both of these sets at this point in time at least are kind of exclusive. And with that, we're moving on to a couple of announcements. I think these are around the upcoming movie Captain America Brave New World that is supposed to release next year, February. And here Lego has already announced for the December 1st a couple of sets. First of all, we get another BrickHead set, the 40668. Lego is asking, like they usually do for 2 BrickHeads, around 20 bucks or 20 euros or $20 US. And I must say, Captain America I really like. I think it's a pretty cool BrickHead. Really like this variant of Captain America. With Hulk, I don't know. I don't think that BrickHead Hulk is a good idea. I think it doesn't look like the Hulk. I don't know. For me, it looks like I don't know, a tiny puny devil or something like that. Pun intended. Yes, they have the arms, but still, it doesn't really work for me. Usually, BrickHeads work quite well for me. Usually, I'm able to see what Lego is trying to bring across, but in this case, it does not work. What is really amazing are the visors or the glasses, whatever you may call it, of Captain America, because the actual printed tiles behind the trans red tile in front, which is really cool. Great idea. I think it should really look amazing. At least if you look at it from the front, I'm not 100% sure how good it looks if you look from it like top down. I don't know if Lego has, I guess they don't have any pictures. Because I imagine that it won't look that good. You may be able to look behind the glasses or the visor, and this may not be as nice. Anyhow, Captain America I do like, Red Hulk I do not. And then we have a Captain America construction figure. I guess this is a bit independent of this movie, 76296, you know, with the wings and everything. The shield is now also quite a large shield. I don't know if this is a new piece, if they made it for the set, but it looks cool nonetheless. And Lego is asking for 35 euros or dollars. And again, you can pre-order this already, and it will release December 1st. And then we have another set that is clearly aimed at the new movie because it does include a Red Hulk Big Fig. I guess this is the same figure as they use for the green version. Anyhow, you have in addition like a fighter jet and 3 minifigures included. Lego is asking for $55. That is quite astonishing price point, but I guess it has to do with the Big Fig. So the question, of course, is, does it make much sense? I guess they had to make this set because they wanted to bring out this Big Fig, but usually Big Figs make a lot more sense in larger sets. But I guess they didn't want to take the risk to make a large set for a movie that is not even out yet. Keep in mind, these sets will come out 3 months prior to the movie release. So I guess that's a bit of the struggle that Lego is in. So I guess these sets would have made a lot more sense coming in spring next year. But I mean, we have seen this in the past. I don't know exactly what is going on here, but maybe this Marvel movie was supposed to come out earlier. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we had because of the strikes last year. I think they were last year, right? So a lot of stuff is postponed nowadays, but we have seen more, let's say, insyncrasies, stuff that is not synchronized, let's put it that way, between Lego and movie releases. I guess a lot of, long-term planning has been messed up by the strikes last year. Anyhow, let's move on to Mould King. Just as FYI, this is a set that already I think is on the market since last year, but for the 5 Tiger Generals Guan Yu, we now have 393001. We now have from Mould King also official pictures. So Mould King has it in their own store. And I think this is also one of the better ways to buy this. I think Mould King is asking for $140 US for 3,288 pieces. That includes the original box. So I guess that is one of the best ways to buy it right now. Of course, like I said, Bowie has a similar price point, but they do have currently 20% off, which I will come to in a second. And then we have now more pictures on the Viking Longship by Reobrix 66101. I think personally Viking Longships, I mean, there are not that many good sets out there. I think a lot of manufacturers have tried, but most of them I actually don't like. But this one here looks pretty cool. It looks quite neat. It seems to get away without any kind of stickers or prints besides the sail. And this, of course, the sail usually is not stickered, it's printed. So all of this looks quite amazing, I must say. At least on from, let's say, the entire brick construction looks quite neat. And like, I mean, it's maybe a bit over the top with all the colors. I mean, I don't think that Vikings used gold plating on their ships, but next to that, it looks quite nice. I guess it should work quite well in a historical setting, or even better in a fantastical or fantasy setting. This set has 2,547 pieces. This ship is 54 centimeters in length. That is roughly 21 inches, 36.5 in height, 14 inches. And 31.5 centimeters in length, in width, 31.5 centimeters width, that's 12.5 inches. With that, we're moving on to some architecture. The Winter Palace, I think this is the ones, I guess, in St. Petersburg, 5244. I mean, I don't know, you may not be in the games to put a building with the Russian flag in your living room, but of course you can get rid of the flag and still have a piece of amazing European architecture in here. Wange is usually doing a pretty good job on their architecture sets, and this looks quite neat as well. You can buy this now in Asia for around 41 bucks. In this case, again, by a Chinese retailer. With that, we're moving on. Like I mentioned before, just a quick final hint. There is a promotion going on. I guess it's Baowia's way of saying Black Friday. It's for the entire month. It basically started 2 days ago and goes until November 30th Beijing time, end of the day. So not the entire month, because I think November does have 31 days, right? Does it not? Anyhow, you have to use the code double deals, which also means you can't combine this with my promotion code from Bawia. Nevertheless, I think there's a couple of cool discounts in there. Then as an FYI, something that I have been working on that may not be, I guess, interesting. No. What are we using? May not be interesting for the majority of people, but I have now more part lists that you can export. So in the past, I always provided a Bricklink XML or Bricklink compatible XML. I mean, you don't really need this for a Lego set, but it may be interesting in certain scenarios to import this stuff. I do this usually for all the sets where I do have part lists. That is usually most and foremost Lego as well as BlueBrixx. And then I provided a CSV file, so comma separated value that you can use to process this stuff in Excel. And in the past, I learned from folks that this could cause confusion, because some folks were using these CSV files to upload to I don't know, a site like Reobrix or GoBricks sites and stuff like that. And usually when they got a CSV file, they expected a rebrickable compatible CSV file, because this is what most MOCs people do. Anyhow, I now also render these rebrickable CSV files, because they're entirely different. They have nothing to do with my format. I put a lot more data in there, a lot more colors, a lot more IDs and stuff for folks to work on their own. I don't know, like in Excel. But so that's why I'm providing these now. And because at least Lego US is now also providing the CSV upload feature, you can also do this now. So obviously that makes not much sense, right? If you want to buy parts from a Lego set, you can just go directly to Brick-a-Pick using this link. But nevertheless, I just render this for all of the sets. However, what I learned out of the discussion that I had with some folks in the community using these features is that there are so many different color codes in the community or out there used by all the different sites. So you have Eldor, GoBricks, Rebrickable, Lego, Brick Owl. They all use sometimes different names for the colors and sometimes different codes. So this is why I just said, okay, I mean, the internet technically does not need another table for all the different color codes. I just putting my data out here so that if there's some problem, if you, I don't know, exporting a part list from BlueBrixx set, for instance, and you're using it somewhere and you have problems with the colors, then you can check out here this table. Maybe I have a mistake somewhere in my data. This may be totally possible, because as you can see, there are nowadays a bazillion colors. And like I said, different companies call these different, or different communities or companies, whatever you may call it, call them sometimes different. Like Pearl Light Gold with white spaces in between is how Bricklink calls this color. Lego just calls it gold, and Eldor calls it also Perlite Gold, however, with underscores, stuff like that. Or you have different numbers. So for instance, Rebrickable and Eldor is usually using always the same numbers, but not exactly always. For instance, Pearl Red, which is called by Lego Metallic Bright Red, is in Rebrickable a different number than it is in Eldor. Stuff like that. Anyhow, it is a lot of stuff, and there's a pretty good chance that I have a mistake in here, because lots of this stuff I had to maintain by hand. Anyhow, if you have problems with the part list and the colors are off, you could maybe check the table and figure out the root source yourself and just let me know. That is why I created Most Informers, and as you can see, I still have a glitch here in the layout. Anyhow, long story short, if you go to the SetDB navigation, there is an entry now called Color Guide. I will also link this down below so you can take a look at this crazy mess yourself. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to mock of the week. And here we have first the City Green Central Park and Pond on a 32 by 32 base place by Brick Mockman. This is something I'm really excited about. First of all, I'm a big fan of these city parks, city gardens, plus, or even private gardens in a city. Plus, I really like to have this in between modular. So I think that is something that I really enjoy having. And I think Brick Mockman has done an amazing job here. I would even go build something like this on 2 base plates. I think this may even look cooler, or even another extension that I would be thinking about is making the walls a bit higher, which I think like a private garden. I always like this really. Like you, I don't know, could see in cities like London. I think it was even featured back in the day in the movie. What was it called? Notting Hill, which was really amazing. And yeah, I think the designer here captured this pretty well. Looks very exciting. And then we have something that is really cool, the designer Firun. So I've talked about in this show a lot about Blaustein Castle by BlueBrixx, and the biggest issue with this thing is that it is a gigantic behemoth. I mean, like I said, currently the castle itself is, I think, at 30,000 pieces. It's close to impossible to move, and nobody has a shelf that deep, which could be a great benefit, right? If you have an entire basement for your Blaustein diorama, this is awesome. But if you want to put it in your working room or living room or office, stuff like that, then you're in trouble. So what you could do is you could buy the Blaustein Advent Calendar that BlueBrixx created last year, but this is only the basic castle. It's a lot smaller, it's amazing, looks beautiful, but it's quite tiny. So what Firon has been doing is really doing the work to start working on all the extensions in this tiny format, which is really amazing, which basically means with these series of MOCs, you can basically build the Blaustein now, at least until the hall extension, in this smaller format, and it looks amazing. I mean, look at it. It's so cool, and it works, at least as far as I'm concerned, it works as well in this tiny format as it does in the larger one. But let me know what you think in the comment section. With that, we're moving on to MOC Ahsoka versus the Megastrate by Brixx has created this one. I mean, this is like quite fancy because they have used light in the renderings. But it looks really amazing. The only thing that is missing is that the lightsabers of Ahsoka are not blinking because she hasn't activated them yet. But it's an amazing picture, great diorama, amazing scene. I could never really understood back in the day when I watched this show for the very first time how an almost Jedi like Ahsoka would have a problem with this regular human just with a spear, no matter like from which metal the spear has been made. But I mean, at the end of the day, she did win, but it should have been more decisive. That's at least what I believe. Anyhow, it is a cool scene, and it's a beautiful MOC, 930 pieces. At BlueBrixx is asking for $4 Australian. With that, moving on to another MOC that is actually not related to the new Ideas Botanical Garden, but is actually an alternate build of the Friends Botanical Garden. And here I'm actually showing you a bundle, but of course you can buy these MOCs individually. This is called the Conservatory by Giffen Create. So if you buy both of them, you wouldn't even need 6,500 pieces. If you just buy one, it's roughly around 3,000 pieces. So you basically buy the Friends Botanical Garden. I think you need multiple of these sets at a couple of additional pieces, and you have this very large, amazing botanical garden. And there are 2 versions of it, like a regular one and a Christmas one. Pretty cool. And then we have the Terraced Houses by Rebel Neely. And this is like a tiny build MOC, right? Like tiny building. Reminds me a bit of the CaDA sets that they did together with Access Sandbox back in the day. And it's like a 16 by 16 stud kind of house, but 3 of them. Of course, it's very iconic British house design, if you will. My house is my castle, and this thing has 1,269 pieces. The designer's asking for 12.5 euros for the design. It looks very detailed, but of course it is very tiny, but looks very cozy, looks authentic. And the 3 houses are technically all identical, but there are slight differences on the outside and of course on the inside even more so. Really beautiful design. I would love, I don't know, to have like 20 of these and put them in the city. This would look so amazing. And then we have another alternate build by Peter Mox. Technically, he marked this as a modification, which is correct because it needs additional pieces. But the additional pieces are basically just the base plate. So I would call this an alternate build. which PMOCs, of course, is known for. And this is already the second one. I think it's only two that he has created yet, the Elven Temple and the Elven Market Hall. And basically, the idea is to have an alternate build out of Rivendell. And of course, the color scheme is a bit specific and may not fit in every city. But still, I mean, if you are a big fan of Lord of the Rings, you have bought Rivendell, but after a couple of years said, okay, now I have a problem, don't have space on the shelf, what I'm going to do with it? You could, and you have a city, then this could be for you, because this thing is basically a modular building, compatible design. And it looks quite beautiful. Like I said, the color scheme is a bit over the top for a regular city with the sand green roofs and everything. But still, I think it looks quite decent. And if you want to tone it down a bit, you could just buy, I don't know, like black 1x1 tiles, like 100 or 200 of them, and then just replace the color of the roof. This, I think, would already change on the tone quite a bit, or even go beyond that and replace all the, medium nougat plates with, I don't know, dark bluish gray plates, something like that, to make a more conservative roof. And I think you're good to go. And then I think the sand green in this case would just look like a nice accent and not dominate as much as it's currently doing. With that, we're moving on to a new design by Brickative. This is something I already wanted to talk about last week. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the news show. This is an amazing design. So this is by far the largest design Brickative has ever done, I think, so far. I mean, at least on Rebrickable. Not every mock from Brickative is here, but on Rebrickable, I think the next one is like 4,000 pieces. Though this thing is huge. It is highly modular, as you can see. It has an interior. And yeah, it's 14,500 pieces. Because it is so modular, it may even be feasible to do this piece by piece, not buy all the parts right away, but maybe start with the left wing and then move over to the right wing, something like that. $39 US for the instructions, but I guess that's the least of your problems. At least if you want to buy this one in Lego or build this completely in Lego, almost 15,000 pieces, this is gonna cost you quite a penny, but it's a beautiful design, and as far as I can tell, it's referenced by this building in Poland, which I'm actually not familiar with, but it looks quite beautiful if you're into this kind of design. And then we have now an entire package by Gabizon I wanted to talk about. I think I've talked about one or two of these mocks in the past. Basically a Mills concept for the Winter Village, which I think is a great idea because a lot of people collect these winter sets, and I should be and they are beautiful, but maybe a bit boring if you just, put exactly the sets, exactly how they came from Lego, one by one on a shelf. So if you're not interested in designing your own diorama for it, which in general I would always recommend to go for, but if this is not in, not in the not if this is not something for you, but then I think this thing here by Gabizon could really help you to design your own diorama, and you could use it as an inspiration or just go for it. The interesting thing is this is just a collection. You can buy these individuals, so depending on which of these sets you own, and then you have this Mills platform, and it's highly modular, so you can throw them together any way you like, depending, of course, on which of these sets you actually own. As far as I can tell, it's only for the newer ones. So the oldest one is, I think, the gingerbread one. Yeah, I think this is the oldest one, the 10267. So they have not created this for the entire line, but nevertheless, I think it is a pretty cool and neat idea. With that, we are done for this week. And again, my sincere apologies for not having anything for you last week. I was on vacation with my family and just couldn't make it. But nevertheless, thanks to all of you for watching this. And wherever you watch this or listen to, leave a like, comment, subscribe, rate, follow. I don't know. This stuff is called different on any platform, but it's all highly appreciated, that for sure. With that, thanks for listening. See you next week.